Lethal Company, a game that has taken the internet by storm the past couple of months with funny clips and silly mods. Do not start chattering, you fucking annoying cunt.
Hello?
Lethal Company is essentially a game where you and your friends, highly suggested to play with friends, work for a company where you go and collect scrap from different moons and sell it to the company in return for company credits used to buy in-game things such as flashlights, shovels, and jetpacks.
The absolute amount of control I have is insane.
On these moons, you'll face different monsters and different weather conditions to challenge you and your friends to meet the quota, which is achievable by obtaining different scrap and items from these moons within the given time limit. Failure to do so will result in your tragic firing, or demise to be more precise.
Yeah, there we go.
Your performance has been deemed below standard.
Fuck that, I'm taking it in
Welcome to
stride.
our disciplinary process.
I can always delay it for about a second.
For many people, that's about it. Nothing deeper, just a silly, fun little game to play with you and your friends. But to me, there's so much lore! In this video, I'm going to explain all of the lore of Lethal Company, the story, and really, what the fuck is going on. So, for starters, there's a lot of hints as to the story and main sort of standpoint of the company. We can infer that when Sigurd, we'll visit him more later on, begins his notes, his crew isn't the first to apply to the company for a job. They seem to use a form of propaganda by offering good pay and such to applicants, as he details in one of his logs. And why would the company do this? Well, read the posters. On the ship, one of the posters details about how we need to preserve food for a surplus, hinting at some form of famine or lack of food at some point. Judging by the style of this poster, we can already tell it was made a long time ago, and we know that Sigurd made his voyage in the late 60s. There's another poster in the ship that displays some sort of person holding what would seem to be an axe in a style similar to that of Soviet propaganda, which would explain the push for self-sufficiency back at home. And we also see another poster using this form of propaganda, saying that your life is in good hands, which is rather curious seeing as you're already on the ship. We can also infer that we aren't from Earth, or at least our Earth, as there is no mention of an Earth or any planets even in our solar system as such, but rather in the Thistle Nebula, which has its own solar system. We don't know much about this, but we can infer that even if we're coming from Earth, the company's cause is so large scale that we move to an entirely new nebula and solar system in order to fix it safely and protect home. What even is the company? Sigurd, we'll be using you for this one. The company is some form of corporation, seemingly set up to deal with the famine being experienced by us back at home. The reason we're experiencing a famine is because of what lies within the company building: a beast. The beast, according to Sigurd, consumed an entire planet of gold and posed a large threat to us at home, and so to prevent anything bad happening or any disasters, the company captured the beast and gave it food. The unprecedented demand for food ran our planet dry, and so they pieced together that the beast will consume anything it's given, since it, ate a planet of gold, and worked out which items lie on which moon and assigned a value range to each item based upon how much the beast likes it, hence the company credit system. The voice you hear at the counter of the company building is a translation for how the beast feels and how it is tamed in order to prevent any disasters, although Sigurd mentions the beast could be hiding, as well as theorizing that we are just feeding it to keep it tame. With the beast's history with gold, it is obvious that the gold bar is the most valuable item, as it has the highest minimum value as well as the highest maximum value, as the beast sure does love gold. The planet the company chose may also be linked with gold with the name Gordion, which is speculated to have derived from the word golden but got mistranslated or miscommunicated somewhere down the line. Although nothing really hints to this within the game itself, it would make sense, especially if we want to keep the beast here. We'd want it to believe it's on a golden planet, right? When it comes to the workers and the crewmates, the company replaces any and all crewmates who fail to effectively meet the quota in order to continue to keep the beast well fed and happy as consistently as possible. We also see that Desmond picks up on this in the final log. Desmond also manages to trace where the company actually resides, such as taking the phone calls. And it seems that the company is quite far away from where the crew operates, as it's mentioned that they're actually outside of the solar system. This is most likely due to the dangerous nature of this nebula, and so in order to keep themselves and the entirety of the human race safe, we stay far away from the beast, whilst some innocent job seekers are sent on a suicide mission to please the monster. Now, Sigurd. Sigurd's crew began their voyage in mid-1968, and it ended in late 1968, most likely when the rest of the crew ended up dying on one of the moons. We can read through Sigurd's logs for hints towards lore, as well as typical banter amongst the present crewmates, like Richard smelling like shit. We see that as time passes, each member of Sigurd's crew begin to dislike their job more and more, and actually end up living in fear of the so-called company, after Sigurd documents hearing screams and using a walkie-talkie to communicate to voices beyond the wall. This is where we get to the point of the golden planet being destroyed or consumed. Although the real question is, whose voices are Sigurd hearing? Whose screams are these? How can they communicate so easily with Sigurd? Surely, if he's communicating with a living person, they would need a walkie-talkie as well. Now, if you're a paranormal fanatic like me, you'll know that using radio equipment, ghost hunters tend to hear voices and disembodied sounds from spirits and those of whom have passed, especially in static. And judging by the fact that Sigurd is working in 1968, static is a heavy factor involved here. We know that ghosts do exist in this universe, as the Ghost Girl appears when your behaviour shows signs of high paranoia, so it isn't too far of a reach to say that Sigurd is actually talking to people who were present when the gold planet got consumed by the beast, and that the screams are from the victims of said beast. Sigurd also notes how he sees Richard on one of the moons, even though Richard is dead and was killed by a bracken. He casually mentions both of these in two of his logs, seeing Rich again in the log Real Job, which is the last log that Sigurd personally enters, so it's safe to assume that the voices and screams are from past victims of the beast beyond the wall. Sigurd also describes some form of war regarding the company building, as well as Titan, which is where Sigurd mentions he hopes his dad isn't staying, which is a weird note, seeing as it's previously assumed that humanity resides away from all of these planets, even this nebula, including the actual main company workers, as they reside outside of that solar system. But at the real base of everything, the crux of the matter, the juice in the meat, what even is the beast? The beast, often referred to as Jeb, seems to reside within the company building. It's a large, destructive being that most likely has killed many people and been reliable for the destruction of many planets and moons. It doesn't like loud noises, as when on the company building, loud noises wakes it up. One key thing to note about the size of the beast is the grumbles it makes. When on Gordion, you can hear deep grumbling and gurgling noises from behind the wall, even before the beast is awake. This will show the beast's hunger, really. Like, when your stomach grumbles, when you're hungry, this is what that is. And the deep, low vibration frequency of the sound shows its sheer size. As the larger things are, the deeper the sound they tend to make. We also see that the beast has tentacles and uses these to collect scrap and attack anyone being too loud, going back to the hating loud noises thing. Many speculate the beast to be based off Jobborith. I probably butchered that. But Jobborith is a character from Unfortunate Spacemen and is the CEO of, coincidentally, The Company in this game, and is a planet-sized beast with tentacles and has a rustic brown shell and skin. From this, we can probably assume that the creator of this game, Lethal Company, took some inspiration from Big Job. But for now, it's safe to assume that despite the similarities, this is just honest similarities and so shared no lore and story. Back to Jeb though, our beast. The different voice lines played when you feed the beast are probably translations to reflect how the beast is feeling in regards to food, except for the rare few voice lines, of which drop a couple more confirmations of this, such as this one, saying the company must stay happy.
The company must stay happy. The company must...
And this one saying, this wall cannot contain me.
This wall cannot contain it.
With the use of the word me when saying the wall cannot contain me, we can assume that what is talking to us is indeed the beast, and that it lives within the building that we make our trips to sell the scraps and, well, feed. Now, but what about the drill? Well, you see, the drill that lives under the ground on planet Gordion is probably from Sigurd's attempts to break something behind the walls out. He mentions this in the same log when he talks about communicating to someone behind the wall and saying that he can probably break them out. As of now, we can't power this drill, although this may come in a future update to finish what Sigurd started and see what's really going on beyond that wall. But for now, sorry MatPat, but this is all just a theory.
A game theory!
Thanks for watching.